Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Galit podcast. I am here with Megan Perkins, and we're going to be talking about dogs and service dogs and dogs for the disabled. Megan is a private in-home trainer. Oh, looks like we lost her. Technical, having some technical difficulties today. Um, Looks like she is back. All right, I will continue with our bio. So Megan is a private in-home trainer for service dogs mostly. Provides for dogs, whether they're rescues or adults. She teaches dogs tasks and public access for about 80% cheaper than a service dog program. And she can teach them to do so she can teach the owners to make sure that they are fulfilling the dog and that the dog is happy to work. She is also a disability advocate and believes in every dog. Thank you for being here, Megan.
You're welcome. I kind of figured it out. I'm a dog trainer. I'm not good at technology. I need to be on the radio.
That is totally fine. There's technical difficulties all the time, so I'm sure everybody, now that we've been in the virtual zone for a little while now, everyone is so used to I get it. Things come up. I've had so many things happen during episodes, but I'm glad that you are able to be here.
Yeah, I promise I'm not a jerk. I just can't. Technology's weird to me now. When I was in my 20s, it was different.
All good. So tell me about the work that you do with dogs. How did you start it? How did you get into it?
Okay, so I do a lot of work with dogs. I'm trying to get my camera. Okay, so there we go. Ugh, what's happening? Okay, I'm so sorry. My camera's not good. So, I've always loved dogs my whole entire life. And my family would abuse animals. I don't speak to them anymore. It was I had to watch my dad hit my dog a bunch of times, knowing that wasn't going to help anything. Because dogs only want your attention. If you say no, can you beat a dog? They're going to do that because they want your attention. So if you ignore the bad behaviors and the good behaviors become perfect. Anywho, so I had some trauma. I lost my family about 4 years ago, and I lost everything I've ever owned. And then I got an autoimmune disease, and I had to live with my friend who I didn't know very well, but I knew where I was supposed to go. And my autoimmune disease lasted over 2 years, and I couldn't put clothes on. I was just a dress because it was like a skin inflammation thing. And then I started to have seizures, and then I started to faint. And we're like, okay, this is gonna get better. This is gonna get better. And I was like, I know what'll make me happy. I've always wanted to adopt a pit bull because they get such a bad rap, and I love them, and I just don't think it's fair. It's because of the tools people use for the dogs, and it's because of the people. I promise you. I can go in and look at a dog, and I know exactly what's going on with the person. Because so the thing that I learned about dogs is it is all energy and communication. And guess what? They don't speak. Their their language is silence and body language, and we don't ever really pay attention to that.
Yeah.
And that's what can get us in trouble. So anyways, so I got this pit bull Kenny. somebody had thrown him out of a truck. He was one day away from euthanasia. His eyes were all crusted, and his nose was crusted, and his leg was hurt. So I spent that time rehabbing him. So that's another thing I do. I rehab rescues so that people don't bring him back to the shelter. Um, and he came back to life, and I trained him to be a therapy dog, and we do humane education at a bunch of schools, and we go to senior centers, um, and we have panels because my dream is to train rescue dogs for kids with mental illness that don't have the means to pay 25 grand for a program dog. Because I got sick and I needed Kenny to be my service dog, and I was like, I have to have this so I can leave the house because sometimes I would fall or I'd get dizzy or I'd have anxiety. So I got a million certifications in dog behavior and dog psychology and body language. And then I realized all of us are doing it so wrong and nobody knows.
Yeah.
Like all of us are wrong. And I learned that through this training and I try it all the time because I work with aggressive dogs that have killed dogs. And I'm
Okay.
fighting them. People are too scared. Trainers at the shelter are too scared to touch these dogs. And I just go in there and I do it because I know how their brains work. Like I wouldn't feel comfortable to talk about cars because I don't know anything about cars. I know dogs like inwards and outwards, literally.
Yeah.
And so I was fostering a lot of heartworm dogs. And, I fostered all the time. I did everything for the shelter. And then people started to see my videos and they'd see where the dog started and where he ended up. And then they saw me train Kenny to be a service dog. Nobody could believe he wasn't from a program. Nobody could believe that he was a rescue. And he's legally a service dog. And nobody would work with him because he had anxiety. He said, no, the anxiety's never going to go away. It did because I didn't give up. And so because of all the trauma I went through, I won't give up on Kenny. And I know that anger and stuff really scares dogs. So if you're ever angry, walk away from a dog because, yeah, they will do what you want to do, but it's not because they're following their leader, it's because they're scared. And we don't want them to be scared. We want them to want to work for us.
Right.
Right. And all that. Okay. So, anyway, so I got Kenny and I started training service dogs. And then I found out I was good at it. And then I worked with behavior and I corrected a bunch of pit bulls with reactivity. And I take dogs from Roswell because they euthanized 17 puppies last week. So I take aggressive dogs from Roswell, rehabilitate them, send them to Washington so they can get a home.
Okay.
Because okay, I'm sorry. So anyways, that's how I got into it. And I do all kinds of dog stuff now. I've had my business for about a year and a half, and I cannot believe that I do this for a living.
Yeah, that's really amazing. So I want to know a little bit more about this because there are a lot of people that need service dogs and cannot afford to get a dog from a program. Is the way that you do it, is it the same certifications? And are there other people around the country doing that?
That's a very good question. So certifications and registrations um, are not what am I trying to say? Are not law. The law does not recognize dog trainer certifications or registrations. So all of that is scamming and it's completely unnecessary to have because
Okay.
the way that you know a service dog from another dog is their behavior.
Okay.
And they have to have a vest on, they're naked, but businesses will let like eat emotional support animals are considered pets, and pets can't go into grocery stores because FDA and ADA because I have a service dog and I passed out because somebody was pregnant. And I work with a lot of disabled people. And I had one girl I was working with her at Walmart, and this dog attacked her, and nobody at Walmart did anything. And they don't know the law; they don't know the two questions to ask, and it's just. I just wish everybody was trained. I don't. I like ESAs. I like that everybody loves dogs, but I think all dogs should be trained, just like all kids should go to school, and then everything will be healthier.
Yeah.
And I believe, and I feel in my heart and my passion the more that I can spread this education and show people in person like how it works, the more they'll show people and the more people will know because we don't train anybody about dogs. Like when they come to the front door, we go, ah, you're not supposed to do that. You
Yeah.
wait till they're calm and then you give them affection. Because if they're excited in the house, they have no way to bring themselves down. So it's excitement is fine, but you have to like have an on and off switch. And another thing that I've realized doing this work is that people get puppies from shelters. They don't really know what they're doing. And they don't really correct the biting behaviors or the jumping or the pooping in the house. They get to be out about 1 or 2, and their teeth get big and they get strong, and something bad can happen. They don't want to walk the dog, and that dog ends up in the shelter with even more behavioral problems. So I'm trying to figure out how I can get this education out there more. I mean, I do it a lot in Santa Fe. I have a lot of clients, like I have like clients, who like have breeded dogs, which is not I'm not really into that, but I want them to be happy with their dogs. I care about people. And if people can't love their dogs enough to get a trainer, then I believe in them.
Yeah.
And it's really giving people confidence because I show them how dogs work. And then like, is this gonna happen? Is this gonna happen again? Is this gonna happen again? And it feels so good to look at my dog and know I know that what I want from you, I can express to you in your language. But a lot of people don't know that. And they're like, well, I want my dog to listen to me because your words don't mean anything. Like, so the ways to communicate with the dog vocally, they know 3 tones. They know, hey, like they're in trouble, which we use sparingly. They know like barking orders, like we say, sit, down, watch. And then they know praise. No, 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 you're such a good girl, blah, blah, blah. So you have to do those 3 different tones so that you know what's happening. Like I did something wrong. This is the command I'm supposed to do. I did a good job. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So and you want to, and a lot of problems with people is that their dog won't look at them or their dog pulls. And most of that is because their nose is on the ground and their nose is 60% of their brain. So if you can't get their head and their eyes in control wherever you are, you don't really have the dog.
Mm.
Like, so for instance, a harness, say, put a pull harness on a horse. What is he going to do? He's going to pull, and he's not going to care who he's pulling. He's not going to check on him or anything like that. So you pull the leash and it's tight and there's no communication. There's just tension. So he's escaping the tension. And a harness is like holding a horse by the saddle. Yeah, you can hold the body, but you don't have any control of like, the mental stimulation, emotional part.
Yeah, I have to say that I experience this myself because I actually I had a husky, and I got him when he was
Yay!
a husky. He passed away last year. He was
Oh,
13.
I'm so sorry.
He lived a very good long life, but towards the end of his life, he had cancer, and he ended up, due to complications, passing away. But
They don't live as long as us because they figure out empathy and unconditional love way faster.
yeah. So when I first got him, I remember they told me to get a harness, which is probably the worst thing that you can do for a husky because they just want to run and they want to
Yeah,
pull.
the shelters do that because they get paid to use those harnesses, so they don't even like make other tools available because
Yeah.
they don't.
Yeah, so I got a harness, and immediately within like a month, I was like, okay, this dog is tiny and he is way stronger than me. And we are like walking, and he was super, super smart as a puppy, where like I had him trained first on wee wee pads because they were like, oh, you can't let him go outside. He's too young. He doesn't have all his shots. So I had him trained on wee wee pads, and then it came time for him to like go outside, and we would take 4-hour walks, and this dog would not go outside. He would wait the 4 hours pulling me the whole time, and then go inside, run to the wee pad, and like pee and poop. And so
That's codependence, and it was a puppy, right?
it was a puppy.
So like when y'all are separated, he doesn't know what to do, but then as soon as he gets with you, he gets back in his pack brain. He's like, oh, I can poop now. Because one of my clients that happened, she'll take the dog out for like 2 hours and bring it back in, and it'll automatically poop on the floor.
Yeah, so I immediately was like, I need to get a trainer because I need to understand how to communicate properly with my dog and make sure that like he knows what I want him to do. And I had a trainer who was like, first things first, take off that harness. Like you need to him to be following you
I
and
like that trainer. I
yeah,
like that trainer.
not like dealing with like the harness. And so he got a regular collar and he taught me how to make sure that my dog was paying attention to me and how to get him to like walk behind me slash next to me and not be pulling me down the road and pooping outside and the whole 9 yards. But it really is like we think like we go into it thinking that, oh, we can figure it out. But it's not the way that humans communicate.
Yeah, and it's kind of sad because people won't call me until somebody's gotten fit or it's like an emergency or the dog's like so out of control. It's like, let's start at the beginning and then your whole life's easy. I forget my dog's there. Everybody's like, don't forget your dog. I'm like, okay, come, Kenny. But like harnesses are, you can hold the body. It's like a big strong man can hold a harness, but that's not a walk. You're not with the dog. You're not getting that pack walk physiology from you. They're just feeling pressure and they don't know who's pulling the pressure and they're going to pull against it. In a flat collar, even if he does walk next to you, if he pulls, his trachea could collapse. Flat collars are so dangerous. People don't even know. And the shoulder is the strongest part of the body. So you have the shoulders and the harness, and they see something you don't, and they go flying, you go flying. And that's the easiest way to get your dog to run away and to break your hip.
Yeah.
But okay, so slip lead, I cannot wait to show you, and you can look at videos on my page. Is I'm called the slip lead girl. So it's like a rope with a little stopper. You put it up right under their chin right here, and right. I don't know how this camera works, and then right behind their cranium. So it's bone on bone, and you have control of their head. So if they get fixated on, like, say, a bunny or another dog, you can give it a quick pop, and you'll automatically get the dog's attention because it has action. You're like poking the dog in the neck, like, "Hey, listen, hey, stop!" And because that leash is always loose because it's for communication. It's not
Right.
for us to keep our dogs from running away or attacking. Because if we think they are and we have that tension in the leash, they will. But if there's no tension, you're going to see your dog's not aggressive. It's just the pressure of the leash. And that's how our energies are connected, is through the leash. So like if you feel afraid, if you feel anxious or bad, drop the leash. Try to get away from your dog. Because dogs want leadership. They're born to follow. So if they can't get that clearly or they don't understand it, then they make these behaviors and then we explain the behaviors into detail. It is like, it does not know, no matter what the behavior was. He just saw that and he was like, here I go.
Yeah.
And so, and another thing that a lot of trainers do that I disagree with is they only train dogs in programs or, like, in facilities.
Yeah.
And I train in somebody's home because I want them to have a relationship with the dog first before we start tasking, because they already have a sense of that person's physiology and what's normal and what's not. Because if you teach a psychiatric service dog in a facility and you go, hey, here you go, 25 grand, and then they don't even know how to do the task for you because they're used to doing it for other people.
Right.
Yeah, because I work with a lot of people that work at Assisted Houses of the West. I'm probably going to get sued for that. And she worked with them and she said her dog barked and they said, take the vest off. You're not affiliated with us anymore. We don't agree with the outside. And so then I fixed it. Everything's fine. And it's crazy how much they charge. And I know because I was disabled, so I trained my own service dog. So that's why I do it. Like, I trained for anxiety, I trained for depression, PTSD, autism, Alzheimer's, bipolar, insomnia, seizures. And then I also do mobility. And then there's cardiac alert. And then it's really cool. And I'm a nerd and I don't have any friends. So I got a lot of certifications. Watched the dog whisperer. And I went to yoga school. So like I perfected my like breath, mind, body thing.
Yeah.
But I'm scared of bicycles, it's just not dogs. And I see that, like, if people were educated and shelters were honest about what the dog's problems were, they wouldn't be returned so often. I cannot tell you how many people I go and I'm like, give me 3 weeks. And then I show them the possibilities and I show them what to do in certain situations. And then the next day they don't do what I said. The dog poops on the ground. They send it back to the kennel after 2 days. It takes rescue dogs 3 months to finally become comfortable and get to know, and you get to know who they really are. And so you're traumatizing the dog twice in like a couple of days. And so the behavior is going to get even worse. And then the next adopter isn't going to know dog psychology and it's going to get worse and something bad's going to happen and that dog dies. But people don't really see it that way. They see, oh, that's my dog. That's my possession. Uh, so it's like they don't really see dogs as creatures that have needs as well.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like they fill our heart hole. We need to fill their heart hole.
That's right. I think you're completely right, where unfortunately in our society we tend to see animals as things and possessions and not really acknowledge that they are beings with a mind and personality of their own that also needs to be fulfilled.
And it's kind of selfish. Like, oh, Dad, I think today I'm going to get a puppy. Okay, let's do it. Well, like, remember, you're going to have that dog for its whole life. You're the only thing that it knows, and you're the only thing that's going to give it a good life. Show it the outside. But people get these reactive dogs, and they don't want to deal with it, and these dogs never get to step outside. And they don't realize that if they just take the leash off and calm down, that dog will go act normal with those dogs.
Yeah.
So you see a dog freaking out on the leash, you let him off the leash, he's probably just going to go smell the dog. He doesn't know how to deal with the pressure when another dog's coming at him. And so I know all these things. So I realize that I have this weird random gift, like I'm half dog. Like he wants to be half dog, but but like I understand communication so much. I'm in a lot of therapy, so I understand how to like communicate with people without them being defensive. And it's my passion. And so I teach disabled people how to do it without being able to walk, because I did it without being able to have to walk. So I would sit on the couch, I would throw treats, and I would say, fine. And then he would go find them. And then eventually I'd hide him better. And then I go hide him outside. And because scent work is as good as a mile walk for a dog.
Okay.
And so huskies, they need a lot of mental stimulation. So I'm talking teach them a million tricks, teach them like anything you can, because that can translate outside. If you see a distraction, you can use those commands he knows to distract him from that distraction.
Yeah.
And just people don't really understand the communication. Like if you have to, you can't say sit, 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 sit. They're not going to understand. And then if you go with them aggravated, they're just going to start to show fear because they're like, I don't know what you want from me. Why are you doing this? And we want our words to be minimal or they won't matter. So we say sit, 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 sit. They're not going to do it. We say sit, sit, and then they don't do it. We pull up on the leash, push down the butt, and they look at us in the eyes, and then we say, good sit, yes, good boy. But he's not going to listen to like a little tug and like, are you ready to go outside? Do you want to go to bed or you want to stay up? Like, no, it's bedtime. This is when you eat. This is when you eat. And it's not being mean. It's getting dogs back into their natural instinctual brain. That's how they would act in the wild. Wake up, go to the bathroom, go hunt, play, take a nap, go to the bathroom again, play, sleep, dinner, go to the bathroom again, and then play. And then
Yeah.
and they need that schedule. And they
Yeah.
need to know what they can touch and what they can't touch. And the only way you can do that is to actually be around them when they touch it. And then you can correct it and give a treat. And but the thing that people don't realize and they don't learn in dog training is correction. So all dog trainers know it, but they don't tell people. So um like dogs, they are meant to be like calm. And we always like the excitement, but it's actually super unhealthy for them. So we get them in their calm mind by showing them leadership. And the way we show them leadership is that we allow them the time to calm down. We walk out of every doorway first. They follow us. And then you will see a calm dog outside that's following you and looking at you in the eyes. Then you can let them go be crazy, put them back on the leash, walk out the front door, make them sit, make them be calm, open the door, leave it open, make them sit for a couple more seconds, walk inside, make him sit, give a treat, good boy, good boy, shut the door, and then you have the calmest dog inside that you've ever known. And they're not unhealthy because they're not always excited. They get excited and then they get to come down from it.
Yeah.
Because like shelter dogs, their eyes are black because they're so exercise deprived. They have no way to get to that part of their brain yet.
Wow.
And I do this because I have a mental illness. My family never understood. They didn't try to know me. And so I felt like they thought they were loving me, but they weren't loving me the way I needed. Right. And so I was having dogs and they were anxious and I was seeing all this bad stuff happening to dogs crying all the time. And and I was just like, what was I saying? I'm sorry, I blanked out.
About mental illness
Yeah,
and
okay. Yeah, so I have mental illness. They didn't try to understand me. They would keep me for the holidays. So I had to stay home because I had a mental illness. I might cry or be loud or something like that. So I had a lot of therapy around all that. So I understand kind of like how people think and how if I want change to happen, I have to meet them at their level. I
Mhm.
don't think I'm not in my ego. I'm a person, you're a person. We're going to save this dog together because we are the leaders that they need, right?
Yeah.
But they need to learn and silence and body language. Like I could talk to my service dog completely silent. But like we're outside, I bump his hip with my leg, or I'll this is like a mouth. Cesar Milan does this. It's like a mouth, and he just like kind of go like that at the neck, and that's what they do to correct each other in the wild. So
Yeah.
that's gonna hit their sensor, and they're gonna stop whatever they're doing. And it's like with your hands, like a claw, boom, right on their neck, real quick, and then right on their hip, and then also if they're not listening to you, you walk straight into them. So they're looking at you in the eyes, and you just keep walking straight into them until they sit. And then, good boy, because that means that they submitted to you, and they see you more as a leader, and they're getting treated for it. You're not punishing them; you're letting them use their brain, and that's all they want. You
Yeah.
know. So once you learn that, you can teach a dog anything. So I have all kinds of service dogs that I train from like a puppy to 8 years, and I like 8 years. If it's mobility, can last maybe 2 years outside. But like if it was just a psychiatric service dog, I mean, he was 8, I could train him and he could work till he was 12.
So I have a question. You mentioned that there are two questions to ask
Oh,
to
okay, yeah,
or
yeah.
somewhat if it's really a service dog. What is that?
Okay, so this is I told you I go on tangents. Okay, ADA is very important to me because I work with disabled people and I'm training their service dogs. And there's a huge problem with people in the stores understanding what the rights are, what the laws are, and what they're able to do. So ESAs are not trained, and you have to have a letter from a therapist that says this dog gives you comfort, and you don't have to train it, and you can have them with you at an apartment, in a plane, and at a hotel, in pet friendly places. A grocery store is not a pet friendly place. Walmart is not. Target is not. Right.
Okay.
And so you go in there and you see all these dogs with ESA vests on in the grocery store. And pets are against health code according to the FDA. So they're violating the FDA as well as the ADA. These ESAs are, but nobody's knowledgeable about it and nobody does anything. Like one of the managers said, "Oh, we just gave up. They're in a best. We don't really want to go to jail." So I go and explain to them, the dog is like that by behavior. If you see a dog fixate, they poop, they jump, they bark. It's your responsibility to get them out for the safety of all your patrons, not just the disabled ones.
Right.
Because I was with Kenny and I was kind of feeling seisurey and I had his handle on at the grocery store. And this man goes, "Oh, puppy, oh my God, come here, come here, come here. You want kisses?" And people know not to interfere with service dogs. Well, not very many people here, but and then I fell and I passed out and I hurt myself because he distracted my dog, aka my medical equipment, so I can participate in society.
Yeah.
And so I get so much shit everywhere and I fight. I'm the nicest person. But like I went to urgent care and they told me that I had to separate my service dog just in case somebody has allergies. And I always have the ADA cards with me. It says you're not allowed to separate a disabled person because of their need of a service dog, regardless if people have allergies or people don't like dogs or people are scared of dogs because they're well trained. They're trained not to look at people and ignore people. And um, they are trained to be in public and it takes a while. Um, and I just like, no, it's against the law. Call the police. Go for it. And then they're like, okay, go sit down because they gave them an ADA card. Because people are like, no dogs allowed here. I'm like, service dogs are different. They're, no, they're not. I have to pull out the ADA card. They throw it. I call the attorney general. Attorney general, right now, we have a lot of complaints, and we're almost where we can make a suit because it's like a fine, and you can go to jail for impersonating a service dog, but nobody does because they don't know what a service dog is, and they're scared of getting breaking the law.
Yeah.
So and everybody's like, oh, maybe. When dogs hear excitement, they're gonna go there. You have to be more exciting than what the distraction is. Excuse me. Sue was like, "Who's that?" And then I had a seizure. If you had just walked by me like a nice person, I would have been safe.
Right.
And so I was there training. Excuse me. I've had a sinus infection. That's why I was telling you this.
Mhm.
I was training one of my clients, and she's bad anxiety. So we were doing public access. We were at Walmart, and but my dog's super well behaved off leash, and her dog is great. I would never let because I care about people. I would never let a dog that did not have the proper training beforehand to go in public. And we were doing public access, and they said, "Do you have a service? This isn't a service dog." I go, "Yes, you can ask two questions, and the two questions you can ask are, do you have this dog because of a disability?" And I would say yes. And they say, "What task does this dog perform?" And I usually say, "Alert and response to anxiety and seizures." But he also gets my medicine, picks stuff up on the floor. But and you don't have to demonstrate the task, and they cannot if they don't allow you in. They broke federal law and
Okay.
and I'm in New Mexico, so the New Mexico uh, State Service Dog Act, and we've been kicked out of restaurants. Um, and I showed them the law. I was at Walmart and I gave it to a manager, and she threw it in the trash. So of course I wrote the attorney general about that, and it's not. It's just because it happened to me, and I wish somebody was there to help me. So anyway, so I was with this girl, and we're practicing exit. You hold the pull strap of the dog at the door. You throw a treat like between the two sliding doors, and you go exit, and then the dog will pull you to the treat, and then pull you out the second door. So eventually, if you're dissociated, anxious, or you lost your memory and you're in a store, you say exit. You hold onto that strap, shut your eyes, your dog takes you to that door because you get positively reinforced that behavior. And then the dog will take you to the car. And so the manager was like, this is not a place for training. You need to do that at a facility. Um, we are not a dog training facility. And I said, well, look over there. You have two ESAs. They're not allowed. They're not allowed in here. So I called the cops, the attorney general for that. As a girl, and he started yelling. And I said, call the cops. We have every right to be here. These dogs mitigate our responsibility so we can have a life like you have. And you've never been disabled, so you don't know what I'm going through. And for you to discredit me and tell me what I need and what I don't for my own health and where I'm allowed, where I'm not when you don't know the law, F that.
Yeah.
Hmm? Yeah, sorry. I'm on the couch at Goodwill, so we can talk. Um,
No problem. So let me ask you, you said something about an ADA card. What is that?
okay, so they have you can get them like online or on Amazon. And on one side of it, it says the service dog laws under the ADA, which is the dog must be well behaved in public, meaning no jumping, da, 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 and they must be trained to mitigate the handler's responsibility. They do not have to have a vest. They can act naked. They can be off leash if they have to do a task that makes them be off leash, and um, and they can do uh, like I don't even know where I'm going with this. What did I say? I'm sorry. I've had a sinus infection. I have a headache.
Yeah. So you were saying that the ADA,
Okay,
they did.
okay. And so to digress a little bit, the girl there, she was shaking. And I yelled at that guy to call the cops. And I'm like, you know, you are like, you are not allowed to violate our rights because somebody did not train you on the law. You could get sued. You are interfering with the service dog and their handler. That is against law. And I came out and I was like, I'm so sorry you had anxiety. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. That was hard. I shouldn't have yelled. And she's like, no, seeing you advocate for me like that makes me feel like I can do that for somebody else. She said, if you weren't there, I would have never gone out in public again. So these people trying to help themselves be a part of society keep getting all this pushback, like they already have enough stuff to deal with, right?
Yeah.
And so, and people don't know the ADA. They're like, oh, it's store policy, it's store policy, it's store policy, and they don't educate their employees about it. All employees will come up and get all excited, and then my dog will get all excited, and he can pull me down, and he's not focusing on his job. But like when he takes his vest off, he's like fun and jumping and playing with ball and stuff. When his vest is on, he's at work. And then that is how I got my job. All of my videos from training Kenny, that's how I started working. People were like, I want that, I want that, I want that, I want that. And I just kept doing it. And I kept having success every single time and getting reviews. And then I started to board dogs. And now rescues pay me to save dogs. And, you know, I keep dogs that people rescued and they have no idea what to do and they want to send it back to the shelter. The shelter will call me and be like, hey, Megan, I know we treat you bad, but can you go help these people? And I go, yeah, of course, because I've been doing this for free forever. The money's just the perk.
Yeah. So let me ask you, where are your videos? How do people see them?
Okay, so I have them on Instagram on Rescue Dogs Training with Megan, and I have my Facebook business page is Rescue Dogs Training with Megan page, and I also have a group. So you're going to see me with puppies. You're going to see me with an aggressive pit bull. You're going to see me with an out of control boxer. You're going to see me with a biting shepherd. I don't have the one where I broke up a dog fight, but you're going to see dogs that have never been able to be together in a house be together in 5 minutes. You know, like, so you'll see, like, oh, it's the mindset. We have to say, okay, throw my human brain away and think about how this creature, he lives in silence, how I can communicate with him what I want so we can live in harmony. And he won't be anxious because he knows how to act and what decisions to make in this human world because you taught him first.
Yeah.
See, so if we never taught him to not run around or like, do these bad things, then that's on us. That's not on them. Like, we're like, oh, that dog's bad. Oh God, he's doing it again. He's such a brat. It's like you have to teach him that he doesn't get to decide to do things like that. So like a lot of times somebody gets a new puppy or they get a new dog, I suggest tethering the dog to you. So the dog follows you all around the house. So you always are in success. So like the dog's not alone, the dog's not chewing stuff. And then eventually you can teach him where to lay down. And then he's already learned that he's only allowed to walk, he's not allowed to jump under the table, he's not allowed to be crazy because he's so used to being connected to you through the leash that he forgets that he's not connected to you on the leash. So you give a command and he does it because he still thinks he's on the leash. You drop it outside, they have no idea.
Yeah. So what kind of disabilities are helped by having a dog?
Well, I work mostly with psychiatric service dogs, which I think is a completely different ball game than like guide dogs. Um, and invisible disabilities. Like for instance, a diabetic alert dog can alert the owner 10 minutes before she's going to have an attack
Yeah.
because they teach it through scent training, right?
Mhm.
And they have such good noses. So if you're scared to go out by yourself, you have your dog, and your dog's going to tell you if you need your insulin or not. So you're more confident to be out in public by yourself. Um, it's helping prevent suicide for veterans. Like I think suicide has gone down like 20% since they've been getting their PTSD dogs, which I train private for way, way cheaper because I'm not in it for the money. I'm in it to help people.
Right.
And oh God, what did I just say? I'm so sorry.
So we're talking about the different kinds of disabilities that dogs help with.
Okay, here we go. Okay, so PTSD dogs, what they do, they disrupt behavior. They can do a room check if you're scared to go in the room. They go in there and they check the room for you. They do that exit task, like I told you,
Mm-hmm.
where you hold and just the exit and takes you out of the building. They do deep pressure therapy, which is over your lap, over your chest. They just put all their pressure like a weighted blanket, and it lowers your blood pressure and your heart rate. And holding the dog releases oxytocin, so and dopamine and serotonin and all that stuff. So, like for instance, it's like my dog will. So anxiety is my thing. So I twirl my hair like this, and it's getting long. So like in public, it's real embarrassing. So I taught Kenny when I do this to jump on me. So when I'm doing that, he jumps on me, and I'm like, oh, I better watch my breathing. And if my breathing gets heavy, he jumps on me again. And he's telling me to get on the floor so he can lay over my legs and I can recover. He's doing his job. He's like, lay down. I'm not going to stop until you lay down.
Yeah.
And also, it's been helping a lot, with the gender identity crisis that we've been having and all that. Um, all the suicides around that. A lot of people in those communities are getting service dogs for their mental health.
Yeah.
So and then I wish more people knew about dogs because I brought my therapy dog, and I like this one boy said it was the best day of his life. I was like, "Are you serious? I just brought my dog in the classroom." So I train therapy dogs also, and my goal is to get them at every foster home, every doctor's office, every in hospitals, in schools. You know, you go to the counselor's office, and you have a dog there that can give you comfort that I trained, and you saved a dog and you have more room in the shelter for another one, not just how it's going to be empty for a day and you return it.
Yeah.
Dogs, dogs
I
aren't
have a
throwaway.
question.
Dogs are not our possession. They're
Yeah.
living beings, and it's our responsibility to the universe to guide them through this human world and make them mentally stable because we brought them here and they are there to help us. And so it's our turn to help them, and then they help us more.
Yeah.
It's a miracle. Dogs live in the present and the future. We don't talk about the bad stories or all the bad stuff that happened to them or how they bit before because then it will happen. Because you have it in your brain and he feels it in the energy.
Yeah.
Like if you get scared during a dogfight, the dogfight gets worse.
Okay. Yeah, because they're feeding off of that energy and they're not being able to calm down.
And they don't listen to you when you yell. All they know is that they didn't do something wrong and they're scared and you're using your voice weird. So and then you don't get what you want, the behavior you want from the way that you interact, and then you get pissed and then you hurt them more. It's like if you want what you want, why don't you research about the thing that you have and learn how to communicate. Like if you get a car, you research it, you textile license, you get a permit, you learn how to drive, you have insurance. It's your responsibility till the day it dies. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and people spend way more time looking at cars than they do at looking at dogs that need homes.
Yeah.
And that's why I do the shelter dogs because so many shelter dogs are just returned. It's like, why do you even keep the dog here? He's going to be euthanized in 2 years. It's just so I take every single dog and I believe in every single dog and I stop that aggression by completely putting them in a healthy mind and treating them like a dog. And they get adopted. What it is it's people's fear of the unknown. Because I'm so confident in my dog abilities. It's like I love to work with aggressive dogs. Like, yeah, this be so fun. Because you get to like walk towards them and I'm 5 feet tall. I get to feel all alpha. But I'm not hurting them. I'm approaching them the way a dog would approach. Body language. Like for instance, when a dog is getting initiated into a pack, they're gonna run and they're gonna like bite and they're gonna make noises and it looks scary and it's usually the puppy's fault. And it's just them initiating the puppy into the pack. There's no blood. But then this one woman I was working with, she came into the yard with fear and then they started real fighting. She left, that was over. And then they became a pack because they had been separated for months because of the fear. There might be a bite. There might be this. What do I do? And so I show them what to do. Because if you tell people they're bad dog owners and this and that, like they're going to be defensive and they're not going to learn. And then you haven't changed anything. You haven't changed his life. You haven't changed that dog's life. It's just, you have to meet him at a human level. I know we get frustrated with dogs. I know we yell at dogs sometimes. I know we get angry. I know they annoy us. We just have to not give them attention in those negative states of mind, or they'll absorb those negative states of mind and make wrong choices.
Yeah.
Okay, so now ask me whatever questions you go, because I could talk to you and you'd be like, it's over, Megan. Don't forget about me.
I actually have a question, and you might not know about this, or you might not have any experience with it, but if you know, what do you think about programs for rehabilitation with prisoners and dogs?
Um, I I think that it's a good idea, and I think that it's good for the prisoners if you don't have educated owners, because these dogs have problems. I deal with all the dogs have problems as well, but like they don't sort of get the education that I have there, so they can make their dogs sweet with people, and they don't let them kind of like socialize, so those dogs get out. For people with PTSD and they don't, they're used to being like in a kennel with crazy people yelling, you know, and all kinds of stuff. So they're going to go straight back to their aggression because they learn environmentally. I hate programs.
Yeah.
So because here's the deal: because this is dogs in the West, and a lot of service dog people they follow the AKC, which is American Kennel Society, which means they breed dogs. And there's
Right.
not we don't need them our dogs. And so so these people that train at the facilities, they train these dogs like to be kind of obedient, but when they don't have their vest on, they're not obedient, which I don't get. But they train them on their own, so the person that needs it doesn't have any kind of relationship with the dog, and whatever they're training it for, there's no guarantee that that dog is going to do those tasks with a new person or even bond with the person. And if that doesn't work, the program doesn't care, and they make you continually buy certifications and registrations
Okay.
to be affiliated with them when it's not legal. And because I have a service dog, I know what it's like to have a disability, and I know I just want to be a part of society just like everybody else. But I also want to respect society, respect the service dog community, because I didn't know any of this until I was disabled, how horrible it is.
Yeah.
If you have a wheelchair, you can go to an art gallery here. Um, and it's just, the dog situation is the worst. So I work so much with service dogs, but my first passion is rescue because I'm very good at rehabilitating rescue dogs. That's my jam. Then after that, then I do the service dog training because I
Yeah.
worked with one woman and she's like, "I'll give you as much money as you want, but I need the dog improvements." I'm like, "Impossible. Dogs learn through experience, repetition."
Yeah.
Uh, and I care about my reputation, and I'm not gonna lie because I care about the dog as well. And the people I train, as soon as they're done, I'm saying, "I'm always here for you. Text me. I'll come over once a month if you need me. You're not alone." And then that gives them confidence.
Yeah.
Because instead, because like I was talking to one of my clients and they said that the service dog school intimidated them because they have this knowledge and they sort of like were condescending. Like,
Yeah.
no, don't touch your dog like that. Let me show you how to touch your dog. No, she wasn't touch her dog like that. So let's see the best way that she should do it. You know? And I have one girl that's volunteering there, and she says they're so mean. And a lot of the people that I work with have gone through these programs, have spent 30 grand, and then they have to pay me way less than that. And I only make them have me when they need me. So I say, let me show you what I can do the first session, and then I'll give you a suggestion on how many sessions you need. But if you can't afford it, you just let me know. and text me, and I'm always here for you. And I have phone consults and video consults as well that are cheaper. And then I also do free webinars and sessions like that. And I didn't have any friends. I never left the house. I lost my family. I was agoraphobic. I never left my bed. I wasn't working. And I was in business development, oil and gas, marketing, all that stuff. And then, and I was so depressed. And then Kenny came in my life, and he changed my life forever. Now I'm like one of the biggest dog trainers in Santa Fe. But I should got me a car, so I'll save dogs. I should not.
Yeah.
I cried because I hadn't had a vehicle for 4 years, and I was starting to board dogs as well as train, and I can't do both at the same time. And I was like really worried about it because I wasn't able to rescue enough, so I was crying. And Nancy, I was like, "Who is this?" She's like, "You come over and you deal with our aggressive dog with his nails." I was like, "Oh, I remember you." And she was like, "I'm gonna buy you a car because I know you can save these dogs, and you can save more dogs that way having whales." And
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh my god!" And a rescue pays me to train dogs. What? I'm in disbelief because it. I don't know. People have their things. Took me till I was 36, but I'm very passionate about injustice.
Yeah.
And about people not thinking about other people. And then the fighting, and then like because people when there's an ESA and there's service dog, they fight instead of communicate.
Yeah.
So I also try to treat businesses because I want them to know they have rights as well because it benefits me. You have every right to kick an ESA out and any dog that's misbehaving, regardless if they have a service dog restaurant. Because anybody can put a service dog restaurant.
Right.
Like, it'd be fun. Let's go make disabled people fall because we want to bring our cute little dog in the shirt to Walmart. It it sounds funny, but it's actually very dangerous.
Yeah.
Kitty's gotten bit twice in the grocery store by Shih Tzus.
Wow.
And I'm not saying anything bad about emotional support animals. I think every dog needs training. They have a brain. They need that mental stimulation, like games and tricks and woods and dog parks and learning how to sit, learning how to lay down, learning how to do whatever you want. And like what could be better than that? Once we figure out the communication, we're actually more connected to that dog than we could be ever before. It's gonna be something that's completely different than you've ever felt. It's like you're connected to the universe through this creature. Huh? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm being disrespectful at Goodwill. My feet were on the couch.
Okay, well, we're actually nearing the end. We're almost at an hour, so I want to give you a chance to let people know where you are and how they can get in touch with you. You said you're in Santa Fe.
Yes, I'm in Santa Fe, but I also do virtual.
Okay, and how
I'm
can people
in New
get
Mexico.
in,
They need me.
what is the best way for people to get in touch with you if they have questions?
Okay, so the best way to get in touch with me is on my Facebook business page. It's Rescue Dogs Training with Megan. You can leave me a message or a post, and I will get back to you right away. I like right away.
Okay.
And you can also uh, go to my Rescue Dogs with Megan group, and you can leave questions there. Um, and I also have an Instagram, Rescue Dogs Training with Megan. But the best way is through my Facebook page because you will see the reviews, you'll see the different problems people had, and you'll see exactly how I handled it and what it looked like before and what it looks like now. Like I take that frown. I'm like, I hate this. Oh my god, we can never get control of that dog. So this is exciting. I can teach him another trick,
Yeah.
and it becomes a relationship. So even if you don't use me as a trainer, please everyone get a trainer. It's
Yeah.
like your kid having a teacher
Yeah. It
because then
it
you're good.
I can definitely vouch for that because it completely changed my dog and my relationship with my dog and I know the relationship that my dog had with me and when he was with me and then when my mother had him, that was like his grandma. He'd go there for little vacations when I went away. And because she did not follow the training, it was a totally different relationship that they had. And what they had was special, but it was not what we had. And I'm thankful that I had the trainer and that I followed that.
It's grandma syndrome.
Yeah.
They're like, no, you're baby. Come
Yeah.
here, baby.
100%.
You go around.
In my house, she was like, how is he so well behaved in your house? I was like, because I don't treat him that way. Like, he does not get control over everything. He doesn't.
And it's environmental.
Yeah.
Like when you go to a training program, you spend a bunch of money in a group class and you teach your dog everything. You bring them home, they don't know anything because it's a different place.
Yeah.
And all they know is this is my baby in this place. So that's why your dog's so good at the house, because you're calm. Way to go, not yelling.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much for being on, Megan. I really, really appreciate it. This was so informative, and I thank you for giving us all your knowledge and for helping us with our dogs.
Yeah, and I'm here for you. And we all love these dogs, and we all want them to be safe. But there's just a lack of knowledge that I happen to have and want to give freely. So please, just like if you have any issues or anything, just write me. If it's not me, I can push you to a trainer. I can push you to somebody else. I can give you advice. We can make a plan. And just check it out and think about how all the stuff that has been bugging you can get done as soon as we learn the behavior in a couple of minutes. And then you actually have a dog.
Yeah.
And I love it. So even if you just want to chat and be like, I love what you said. That's so cool. Oh, and also my Facebook, Megan Perkins. You could be my friend as well.
Yes. Thank you. And if you want to, please get in touch with Megan. And if not, just watch the videos. Share this video with anyone that you think needs it. We all have dogs in our life. Even if you're a cat person, you still might have a dog, a neighbor dog that you could have a better relationship with. So share this, like, subscribe. I am Galit Speaks on all the platforms. And I will see you next week for another episode.
Thank you for having me on.
Thank you. Bye-bye,
Bye.
everyone.